Whoa, bet you didn't think we were talking about the CUSA today. New Mexico State at Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky minus 4.5. Why is this a big game? You're asking. Well, if you're a fan of either of these teams, you know exactly why this is a gigantic game. We're talking about Conference USA championship implications. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Christopher, Jacksonville State cannot play in the CUSA championship. No, they
Criminal.
cannot.
As successful as Rich Rod and them have been, criminal.
They cannot. So Liberty's pretty much locked up their bid. It's their first year in the CUSA. It's not their first year in FBS, so they are eligible for conference championship. This is a really interesting game, man. This is really I think like after the UMass loss, people wrote off Diego Pavia. People wrote off the Aggies. But guess
Me
what?
included.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a guy
That was
who
awful.
on
That was
Dawson's
awful.
Diner, having New Mexico State on Dawson's Diner that game was abysmal to
I,
watch.
I do think people, you're right. People did check out. You watch week 0 game like that, and it was tough to watch. You see just a bad UMass team kind of destroy this Jerry Kill led the fighting Jerry Kills in New Mexico State. And they've come a long way. They're playing good football right now, right? And they got a real chance to make conference championship. And like that would be uber impressive.
They're
Uber impressive.
number one in the country in yards per carry. 5.9 yards per carry for the New Mexico State Aggies. Uh, like I said, first in the country. Here's the thing, though. They only run it about 55% of the time, which is a lot, right? But it's not like a ton, right? Like I thought, like when I saw that, like 5.9 yards per carry, I'm like, well, I mean, when I watched them, I guess they did run the ball a lot, but I didn't expect. I expected that number to be higher, right? So, where Western Kentucky is the opposite. They throw the ball. In fact, they throw the ball 62% of the time, which is good for fourth in the country. So, kind of battle the opposites right here. Both teams going to try to control the game here. What's interesting about Western Kentucky is like people were very high on them, and granted they've had a very very tough schedule this year.
Yep.
Very tough schedule. One that includes Ohio State, one that included, of course, Liberty, right? But they just Austin Reed, just something doesn't look right there. Malachi Corley like isn't playing at the level that we kind of expected him to play at this year. Still a very very talented player. Uh, I do think this Western Kentucky team is a lot more talented than this New Mexico State team. But 129 in sorry, I have it written down here. 129th defensively in total rush yards allowed per game. So it's hard. It's hard for me to take Western Kentucky minus 4.5. I don't know. What are you thinking? What are you thinking here?
It is hard. It is hard. Pavila, I love Pavila. If you watch him play, if you're not familiar with CUSA and New Mexico State, he is just a grinder. He is awesome. Short little dude, runs around, just plays with awesome energy. Right. Since they've entered conference play, they've been playing really, really well. They're 5-1 in conference, right? They lost to Liberty, right? And now New Mexico State, outside of Liberty, probably has the worst schedule in college football. Now they do
Yeah.
play Auburn here coming up. And so obviously that'll add to your strength of schedule, but they haven't played them yet. So they have 2 conference games left, and they're trying to lock up the spot in the conference championship game and a rematch with Liberty. You're right. It is hard. I think Western Kentucky, everyone just saw, okay, Austin Reed returns, one of the best group of 5 quarterbacks returns. Malachi Corley decided not to go pro or not to go test the transport waters. And everyone's like, oh, just plug and chug. Like they're going to be elite offensively, and like they're just going to be dominating the CUSA. And they're missing a lot of guys. Ben Arbuckle, right, offensive coordinator at Washington. We see the impact he's had on Cameron Ward. Right, obviously you miss him, and then
For 4 weeks.
you lost the whole. Okay, there's a lot of holes in that team. Ben Arbuckle has been a promise, has been a bright spot on that team. Regardless, though, Western Kentucky, it takes a lot more than quarterback and wide receiver to win a football game, and they're finding that out the hard way there. I think fans are. I think college football media is like, it was just a foregone conclusion that Western Kentucky was going to be, dominating the CUSA, them in Liberty, but like it's not been the case. obviously. They did play a tough schedule. They also played Troy out of conference, which is awesome. That's a really interesting, like, G5 to G5 out of conference matchup. And yeah, after New Mexico State, though, like, they win this game, like, they're putting themselves in the driver's seat to when they play the two worst teams in the QSO, Florida FIU and Sam Houston State.
Yeah.
Right, like
Plus, New Mexico State's got to play Jacksonville State. If New Mexico State wins this, though, I think they pretty much lock it up, right?
they do, as long as Jacksonville State continues to be. I haven't heard anything about them, but like, with in the Sun Belt, James Madison, as long as they don't get that same waiver that James Madison is hoping to get, like, yeah, it will be New Mexico State and Jerry Kill, which is just awesome, just awesome. Yeah, I'm actually gonna go New Mexico State here on the road. I think they get it done. I do think that Mid Tennessee State, that score is misleading. I thought they played well in that game. I think they bounce back and they get a nice win against Western Kentucky on the road as dogs. Give me Jerry Kill.
Yeah, I'm riding with you. I mean, their defense by no means like very bend but don't break it, right? 61st in yards per attempt allowed, passing wides, 72nd in passing yards allowed per game. Their run defense is not much better than that. They're only 70th in terms. They're average on defense, and they have not played all that talented of teams, including talented offenses. But again, like we said, something's wrong with that offense in Western Kentucky. Jerry Kill loves dialing it up on defense.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're gonna give me 4.5, I'll take it. And I do think that there's a good shot that New Mexico State wins this game. So I'll take them to win straight up as well. It's so, when I watch Western Kentucky this year, they don't look that good. They do not look that good. So that's why I'm going to take it. Now, even their passing offense, for how much they pass it, they're 36th in pass yards per game on the season. Not really pushing the ball down the field like they should be. Defensively, they've been just abysmal. So, now granted, Western Kentucky's been there, done that. They've been tested this year. It's some pretty good teams. New Mexico State, on the other hand, not really played a tough schedule. I do think they just kind of do enough. Now, what would hurt New Mexico State? A Diego Pavia slinger pick, right? That right between the numbers of a Western Kentucky hilltopper, right? That'll do it, which he can be prone to doing that. But I think if they stick to the ground game, I think they can leg this one out. I think they can control the game, keep Western Kentucky's offense out of sync, off the field, out of rhythm. I think they can do it, man, which would be awesome. I didn't think we were going to, week 11, we were going to be previewing New Mexico State at Western Kentucky. And I also did not think at the beginning of the season that I'd be taking New Mexico State straight up against these Hilltoppers.
Real quick, do you have quarterback breakdown here? Who would you take and why? Who's the better quarterback? Or who's going to play better? Who's in the better spot to play?
Oh,
Pavila.
that's a tough question.
Austin Reed.
I mean, Pavia's not going to play. Like, he's not that good, right? Austin Reed, we've seen it from.
But so on the ground, though, Pavila gets it done on the ground.
Yes, he does. And that's part of that offense, too. And it feels like they discovered that a little. Well, they did it a little bit last year, but I think they've really kind of committed more to that role as the season's gone on, running the ball effectively, especially with Pavia. I think Austin Reed is the better quarterback. And normally I'm prone to taking a better quarterback, right? I'm prone to taking a better quarterback at home. But I feel like I have to take New Mexico State here. I just kind of feel it, man. I just kind of feel it.
Did you know, by the way, if you haven't heard the story, this is incredible. This is the kind of guy Diego Pavila is. You know, he got accused of urinating on rival New Mexico Lobos logo.
I actually did hear about that. That was one of those week 1 things that I remembered hearing about when he was losing, getting his teeth kicked in by UMass week 1. And that was just like I remember that because it was week 0. Sorry, it wasn't week 1. It was week 0. And, everyone's everyone's hungry for that college football story, right? So that was like the story that week, So that is pretty hilarious, though. So maybe he gets it done. Maybe Maybe he lets these Hilltoppers have it.